this is a non-dualistic system. That Jesus in the Course uses the language of the world, just as he uses the language of the Christian world, to talk about a reality that transcends any of our words, any of our concepts, all of which are part of a dualistic thought system. Duality, again, means that you have two, or at least two. So that when one considers the Western religions, the biblical religions, we are looking at a dualistic thought system. There is God, and then there is the creations of God that are distinctly separate from him. All right, there is the world of heaven, and there is the physical universe that we're told God created. All right, there's a great conflict that certainly becomes very prominent in the New Testament between spirit and the flesh. All right, obviously there's a conflict throughout both books of the Bible, the Old and the New Testament, a conflict between good and evil. All right, and both are seen as being ontologically real, that they are part of the reality. A Course in Miracles, however, is totally different, which is why we always go to great lengths to make the point that the Course, the spirituality of the Course and the spirituality of the Bible are not the same at all. Right? One is a dualistic thought system, the other is a non-dualistic thought system. In the Course, God is the only reality. All right? When we begin to talk about the development of the ego thought system, all right, we are really talking about the world of as if. All right, as if the tiny mad idea of separation occurred, as if the decision-making mind chose the ego over the Holy Spirit, as if the decision-making mind identified with the ego, and on and on and on until we end up with a thud at the bottom of the ego's ladder in the world as a body. But all of this is as if. Everything below this black line is as if. It never happened. Right? And so that's the perspective that one has from the top of the ladder. When one is in the real world, which is the Course's term for that state of mind in which we are outside of the dream, realizing everything here is a dream. Right? It's the culmination of the process of forgiveness. It's when we recognize everything of the ego's world, the ego's world of thought and the ego's world in terms of the physical universe. All of that is an illusion. And at that point, our knowing this is not an intellectual concept. It has now become a very real experience for us. Because we experience ourselves as being on the outside looking. And we know that our identity is outside of the dream and all the dream figures that are here in the world, including perhaps a dream figure that has our name to it. So for example, when Jesus appeared 2,100 years ago in Palestine, his reality was outside of the dream. He was in the real world. The world related to him as a body, as a person. But he knew that that was not who he was. So to be in the real world does not necessarily mean that you don't have a body here with a name on it that people relate to. It means that you are aware, even while you appear to others as being in a body, that your reality is outside of the world and the body, that you are a thought in the mind, and you are just a whisker away, an instant away from remembering your identity as a thought in the mind of God. This is the perspective from the top of the ladder. Right? The real challenge that a student has of this course, to echo the famous passage from John's Gospel, that we're in the world and not of it, is to realize that we are not of this world. Indeed, no one is of this world, because there is no world. We are thoughts in the mind, and almost all of us identify with the thought in the mind of the ego. At the same time that we know we're not of this world, we yet are in this world. Right? And one way of talking about the ascent up this ladder, that the pamphlet refers to as the ladder of prayer, is that we begin to understand more and more, even as we are here, that we are not here. Right? And the gap begins to shrink between our intellectual understanding of the Course's metaphysics, that says that the world is an illusion, and all of this is a dream that happened long ago and in reality never happened at all. The intellectual understanding begins to meld into the experience of knowing what it is not to be in the world. And again, as we make our way up the ladder, this gap begins to shrink. So our intellectual understanding now becomes infused with an experience. And what brings about this experience and what deepens it over time, again, as we slowly make our way up the ladder, is recognizing not at first that the world is an illusion, because we still have bodies, but we recognize that the illusion that we can relate to, the illusion is that the world can have an effect on me, that the world can make me happy, the world can give me pleasure, the world can make me sad, the world can bring me pain. Right? That's the level we can begin to understand and practice even at the lower rungs of the ladder. And as we begin to deepen that understanding and that experience, which means we do not give people power, we do not ascribe to people or to the world or circumstances in the world a causal power that says they are the cause of what I feel, and I am the effect of what they feel. And we'll spend a lot of time today talking about that when we talk about the ego's thought system. But it's extremely important as we make our way up the ladder that we do begin to understand where it is that Jesus is leading us. Again, using the image of the ladder to denote the whole scope of the thought system that we find in the Course, we could say that at different times in the Course, Jesus shines a light on different rungs of the ladder. Right? Sometimes he talks to us as if we were here. One body forgiving another body, one body attacking another body. The Holy Spirit, a spiritual body, being there to advise us and counsel us and guide us and help us. All right? There are those passages, especially in the workbook, where God is talked about as if he were a person who would talk to us, right? Who would guide us. Even though there are many other passages, right, especially in the text, but also in the workbook, where Jesus makes it very clear that God doesn't know that we're here. God doesn't understand words we're told in the workbook. Right? In the manual, he tells us words were made to keep us separate from God. Right? And so at that point, Jesus shines the light at the top of the ladder. Right? But then in those other passages, he shines the light, his light, on a lower part of the ladder because he meets us where we believe we are. That's one of the real impressive and inspiring things about this course, that no matter where you are on the ladder of prayer, no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, no matter where you are in terms of your understanding and experience with the Course in Miracles, there'll be things in this course which will be helpful to you. And those things which you feel are beyond your ability to understand or experience will just wait there for you. And as you read through, you will see only those passages which are meaningful. And those, again, which make no sense to you or again seem way beyond you, you'll just overlook. Right? And it may not be until years later when you come back and reread passages in the Course that you suddenly realize, oh my God, I didn't know that was there. Well, that's because you weren't ready to see it. But there will be things in this Course which will be helpful. And again, throughout the Course, if you take all three books, you'll be able to see, again, how Jesus shines his light on different parts of the journey. Again, it makes this a very, very impressive spiritual document. It goes in line with his whole approach that his love excludes no one. His help excludes no one, no matter where you are, which is why it's really important as a student of the Course, and if you consider yourself an advanced student or sophisticated student, that you not judge other people who may not share your understanding, all right, or may get things really upside down and backwards. How do you know that what they are getting from the Course is exactly what they need for where they are? And if you attack them for it and judge them and prevent them from learning at their own pace, then you are setting yourself up in opposition to their real teacher, all right, whose love meets them where they are. He never meets us in judgment. He only meets us with love, in love and acceptance. And that's a very, very important thing to keep in mind. And just the reason I'm making all these comments is that it should help you as you work with this Course to see exactly how gentle and non-judgmental Jesus is, even though he is very clear about what he's teaching. You know, there's no question in his mind who the authority is, right? But he's not authoritarian, right? He's not harsh, he's not condemnatory, he's not judgmental. He's always kind and loving and accepting. And again, there are passages in this Course that will meet you where you are and will be helpful. Yet again, it is important to understand at least what the full expanse of this journey is. right? And the full expanse of this thought system.